They called it superstition until leaves began to change overnight. Eat this once a week and watch darkness disappear from your life. This is not just about what you eat, but about what you become. There is a power inside you waiting to be awakened. A force so strong that when it rises, nothing dark can stand in its way. Every person carries two kinds of energy, one that builds and one that destroys, one that pulls light into your life and one that invites shadows. The truth is most people never learn how to use their own power. They live believing that the world around them decides their fate. But the secret is this: your energy decides everything. If your mind is filled with fear, your life begins to reflect it. If your heart carries doubt, you attract pain. But the moment you cleanse your energy and raise your vibration, the darkness begins to break. Evil spirits lose their grip not because of magic, but because your spirit becomes untouchable. You must understand the mind is the battlefield of your day. Every thought you repeat becomes a command to your reality. If you keep telling yourself you are weak, you will live in weakness. If you speak strength, even in your lowest moment, the universe starts to shift. This is how energy works. It listens to your words. It responds to your emotions. It moves in the direction of your focus. When you eat with purpose once a week, you remind your soul who is in control. You are training your body and your mind to obey your higher will. This single act of intention separates those who live with power from those who live as victims. You are not powerless. You are not cursed. You are not broken. You are simply unaware of how powerful you already are. There is a reason ancient traditions spoke about rituals and cleansing. They were not obsessed with magic. They understood psychology long before science gave it a name. They knew that discipline purifies the mind, that repetition shapes the spirit, that focus is the ultimate weapon against chaos. When you bring order into your life, the invisible begins to align with you. You start to notice that problems no longer control your mood. You stop reacting to fear. You stop chasing validation. Instead, you carry a calm fire within you, a silent confidence that tells the world you are protected by something greater. And yes, there will still be noise. There will still be people who try to drag you down. There will still be energy that tests your peace. But when your inner world is clean, no external force can pollute it. You do not fight evil by shouting at it. You defeat it by shining brighter. Your body listens to every emotion you feel. Stress, fear, jealousy, and anger all lower your vibration. They make you vulnerable to darkness. But peace, faith, gratitude, and focus raise it higher. Every time you choose calm over chaos, you heal yourself. Every time you eat with gratitude instead of greed, you renew your strength. Every time you choose silence over argument, you create protection around you. This is how you take your power back. On this, you stop letting circumstances decide how you feel. You stop waiting for miracles. You start becoming one. When your inner light becomes stronger than your outer problems, you become unstoppable. Poverty loses its control because you no longer think poor. Evil spirits flee because your energy burns too bright for them to stay. Remember, darkness cannot live where there is awareness. It hides in confusion. It survives in fear. But the moment you become conscious of your strength, it vanishes. This is why so many people feel attacked when they are about to rise. Because darkness knows once you wake up, it can no longer use you. So guard your energy as if your life depends on it, because it does. Be mindful of what you feed your body, what you feed your mind, and what you feed your soul. When you eat with gratitude once a week, when you focus on light, when you choose discipline over distraction, you begin to cleanse your life from the inside out. There is nothing supernatural about this. It is pure psychology, the law of energy responding to belief, the mind that commands the body that feeds the soul. It is how transformation happens in silence. And here is your reward for staying till the end of this message. If you decide today to practice one act of intentional cleansing each week, if you decide to discipline yourself to rise above fear, you will notice something shift. People will treat you differently. Opportunities will open without effort. Peace will find you where chaos once lived. That is the promise of energy that is aligned with light. You do not have to chase power. You only need to clear the path for it to flow through you. And when that happens, nothing dark can touch you because you have already become the light. Every thought you think carries weight. Every emotion you feel sends out a signal. Energy is not an illusion. It is the invisible language of the universe, and you are speaking it every second of your life. When your energy is pure, good things begin to find you. When it is heavy with fear or hate, the same energy returns multiplied. This is not mystery, it is the reflection of your inner state. Your mind is a magnet that pulls in what it constantly repeats. Think of yourself as a broadcasting tower. What you send out is what comes back. If your heart is full of gratitude, peace will reach. If you dwell on pain and jealousy, your world will mirror that emotion. Energy does not lie. It matches your frequency. This is why two people can walk into the same place and one feels peace while the other feels discomfort. They are tuned to different vibrations. Human psychology works in the same way. What you focus on grows. When you fix your mind on strength, your body and actions begin to align with that image. When you think weak, you live weak. Energy follows attention, and attention shapes destiny. This is why the strongest people in the world protect their energy. They don't argue with negativity. They don't chase approval. They stay centered. And because of that, nothing outside can destroy them. You must learn to observe your emotions instead of being controlled by them. The moment you feel anger or fear, pause and breathe. That breath resets your frequency. It reminds your mind that you are in charge, not your reaction. The more you practice this, the stronger your energy becomes. Your environment also listens to your energy. When you enter a place with faith and calm, the atmosphere begins to change. People respond differently. Opportunities start to appear. Even obstacles begin to lose their power. Because when your energy is right, the world bends in your favor. This is the real secret of power. The unseen force that makes the impossible possible. The energy you carry decides the life you live. Eating once a week is not just about food. It is a symbol, a reminder, a declaration that you are in control of your own life. It teaches you mastery over desire, over distraction, over the constant noise that pulls you away from yourself. When you eat with purpose once a week, you train your mind to understand that your body is not the master, your spirit is. Most people eat without awareness. They consume out of boredom, stress, or habit. But when you pause, when you choose to eat consciously, you shift from reaction to intention. You begin to tell your mind that everything you do has meaning, that every bite, every act, every moment must serve your growth, not your weakness. This is the true meaning of eating once a week. It is an act of discipline disguised as simplicity. Psychologically, this routine builds self-trust. Each time you follow through with it, your brain records success. It learns that you keep your word even when no one is watching. That single act strengthens your self-image, and when your self-image changes, your life begins to change with it. You stop living like a victim of habits and start living like a creator of destiny. It also resets your emotions. When you fast or simplify your eating, your mind clears. Your body becomes lighter and your thoughts sharper. You begin to notice how much energy you once wasted on unnecessary desires. And in that clarity, you hear your inner voice more clearly. You recognize what truly matters and what no longer deserves your attention. This is why the idea of eating once a week carries power. It teaches presence, gratitude, and control. It reminds you that abundance does not come from endless consumption, but from awareness. When you honor that small act of discipline, darkness loses its entry point. Because a disciplined mind is a guarded mind. And once your mind is guarded, no curse, no fear, and no shadow can touch you. Real cleansing does not begin with what you touch or eat. It begins with what you think. The most powerful form of purification happens in the mind. You can wash your hands 1,000 times, but if your thoughts are filled with anger, jealousy, or fear, your spirit will remain heavy. Purity is not about perfection. It is about awareness. It is the moment you decide to stop feeding the thoughts that poison your peace. Every negative emotion you hold on to becomes a chain that keeps you bound. When you forgive, when you release resentment, you are not freeing others. You are freeing yourself. The human mind is designed to hold what you repeat. If you keep repeating pain, you relive it. But when you start repeating gratitude, peace begins to take root inside you. That is the first step of true purification. Your inner world creates your outer world. If your thoughts are chaotic, your surroundings will mirror that confusion. If your heart is calm, even in the middle of storms, your world begins to align with order. This is not a miracle. This is psychology. The brain responds to the energy it receives from your thoughts. It sends signals to your body, shaping how you feel and act. When your thoughts are clean, your emotions follow, and your actions reflect clarity. Purification also means protecting your mental space. You cannot expect peace while constantly feeding on noise, gossip, and negativity. What you watch, what you listen to, and the people you allow into your life all shape your vibration. The moment you choose silence over chaos, reflection over reaction, your energy begins to rise. When the inside is clean, the outside becomes easy to handle. Obstacles shrink because your focus grows. You no longer chase validation. You create peace from within. That is how purification begins. Not with rituals, not with words, but with a decision. The decision to stop letting darkness live rent-free in your mind. Once your inner world becomes clean, nothing outside can contaminate your soul. What you feed your body directly affects what you feed your mind. Food is not only physical fuel, it carries energy. When you eat in a state of peace and gratitude, your body receives more than nutrients, it receives alignment. But when you eat in anger or distraction, you feed your body confusion. Your thoughts and emotions become dull, your focus weakens, and your spirit begins to feel heavy. The human body is deeply connected to the mind. Every bite sends a signal to your brain, shaping mood, emotion, and even belief. This is why when you choose clean food, you feel lighter, not just physically, but emotionally. Natural, pure, and simple meals calm the nervous system. They create stillness, allowing your inner voice to be heard more clearly. Your energy becomes stable, your thinking becomes sharper, and your confidence begins to grow from within. When you eat consciously, you are not just nourishing the body, you are training the mind to live in awareness. You begin to notice patterns, emotions, and impulses that once controlled you. Every time you pause before eating and ask yourself why you're eating, you reclaim power from habit. That pause builds discipline, and discipline builds freedom. In psychology, repetition creates identity. If you eat without purpose, your brain learns to live without purpose. But if you eat with intention, your brain learns direction, patience, and balance. The more intentional your choices become, the more focused your life grows. You stop using food to escape emotions. Instead, you use it to strengthen awareness. Food becomes spiritual when it becomes mindful. It becomes a ritual of clarity when you honor what enters your body. That simple act can shift your vibration, raise your self-image, and silence the inner noise that feeds fear. The body follows the spirit, and the spirit follows awareness. Feed your body with wisdom, and your life will start to reflect peace. Discipline is the language of power. It is the wall that protects your peace and the sword that cuts through confusion. Darkness fears discipline because it cannot survive in order. The moment you become consistent, the moment you start controlling your habits and emotions, everything that once drained your energy begins to lose strength. Evil does not attack random people. It attacks those who are close to awakening. When you live without direction, your mind becomes easy to influence. You start reacting to everything around you, and that reaction feeds chaos. But when you choose discipline, you build structure. You build structure. You tell your mind what to do instead of letting your emotions decide for you. That structure becomes a shield, and it keeps darkness away because darkness feeds on disorder. Psychologically, the mind craves comfort. It resists change, even when change is good. Every time you try to build a new habit, your brain sends signals of resistance. That resistance is not weakness. It is the proof that growth is happening. But most people quit at this point. They give up before their new pattern becomes natural. That is where darkness wins. It doesn't destroy you through force, it breaks you through distraction. Discipline is not about being perfect, it is about staying committed. When you repeat one act of discipline daily, your brain rewires itself. You begin to trust yourself more, your self-respect grows, and confidence replaces fear. The energy of discipline is like light. It spreads quietly, but once it fills a space, there is no room left for darkness. The truth is simple. Darkness cannot survive in a disciplined life. It may whisper, it may tempt, but it cannot control. Because discipline teaches the mind to say no to weakness and yes to strength. Every act of control builds energy, and that energy becomes armor. The more disciplined you become, the less the world can shake you. That is why discipline is not just a practice, it is protection. Poverty begins long before it shows in your wallet. It starts in the mind, in the silent beliefs that whisper you are not enough, that you cannot rise, that life will always be unfair. These thoughts create limitation, and limitation creates reality. The truth is, poverty is not only a lack of money, it is a lack of belief in your own power. When your thoughts are poor, your actions follow. When your spirit is weak, opportunities stay hidden. A rich mind is not built from comfort, it is built from courage. It is the decision to see possibility where others see failure. When you start believing that abundance belongs to you, your energy begins to shift. You attract ideas, people, and situations that match your new vibration. This is not fantasy, it is psychology. The brain focuses on what it believes to be possible. If it believes in limitation, it only sees walls. But if it believes in expansion, it begins to notice open doors everywhere. To break the chain of poverty, you must first silence the inner voice that repeats old pain. That voice was trained by fear, by failure, by the world's noise telling you to settle. You must reprogram it with faith. Every day you repeat powerful words like, I am capable, I am growing, I am guided. Your mind begins to rebuild its map. Slowly, your emotions rise, your decisions change, and your actions start to reflect confidence instead of doubt. Money follows mindset. Opportunities follow courage. Growth follows gratitude. When you think poor, you shrink. When you think rich, you expand. It is not about greed, but about freedom. The freedom to use your gifts fully. Once your inner world believes you deserve abundance, your outer world begins to shape itself to match. Poverty cannot stay where belief is strong, because belief is the seed from which all wealth grows. Faith is the strongest weapon the human mind can carry. It is invisible to the eye, but powerful enough to move the energy of the entire world. Every curse, every shadow loses strength in the presence of faith, because faith is the opposite of fear, and both cannot live in the same heart. When you choose to believe, you are already commanding darkness to leave. Faith is not about ignoring reality, it is about shaping it. It is the moment you decide that no matter what you see, you trust the unseen. The mind works according to belief. When you believe you are cursed, your energy collapses, your thoughts darken, and your choices become weak. But when you believe you are protected, your energy rises, your thoughts sharpen, and your actions become fearless. This shift in psychology changes everything around you. Faith reprograms the subconscious mind. It teaches it to look for strength instead of danger. It trains your emotions to stay calm when fear tries to control you. Every time you face difficulty and still choose trust, your brain learns resilience. That resilience becomes spiritual armor. The more you practice faith, the more your nervous system learns peace. And when peace lives within you, no curse can touch you. Darkness depends on your doubt to survive. The moment you stop feeding it with fear, it disappears. Faith does not always change your circumstances instantly, but it changes you. And when you change, your circumstances follow. It gives you the power to walk through uncertainty without losing balance. Faith is the key that unlocks light. It is the quiet decision to keep believing even when logic says you shouldn't. When you carry that kind of faith, you radiate strength. People feel it, energy respects it, and life responds to it. Every curse breaks because no darkness can stand in the presence of a heart that refuses to stop believing. When you eat with intention, you are not just feeding your body, you are feeding your spirit. Every meal becomes a moment of connection between your inner world and the world around you. Most people eat unconsciously. They rush, they scroll, they complain, and they never realize that they are consuming not just food, but the energy that comes with it. But when you slow down, when you eat with awareness, your energy begins to rise. You are no longer just surviving, you are aligning. Intentional eating is a form of meditation. It teaches patience, gratitude, and control. When you take a breath before eating, when you give thanks, you signal your mind that this moment matters. That small act resets your energy. It calms your nervous system and teaches your subconscious that you live from purpose, not from impulse. And when your body feels that peace, it digests not only food but emotion, releasing stored stress and fear. Psychology proves that your state of mind during a meal affects how your body processes it. When you eat with anger or anxiety, your body tightens and digestion slows. But when you eat in peace, your body relaxes, allowing energy to flow free. That is why ancient wisdom always connected food with prayer. It was never just tradition. It was training the mind to stay in balance. Eating with intention once a week strengthens discipline. It reminds you that every choice you make is an investment in your energy. It teaches awareness in the smallest acts so that awareness becomes natural in the biggest moments. When you eat consciously, you absorb life, not just flavor. You feed your confidence, your focus, and your inner strength. This is how simple habits create spiritual power. When your actions are filled with intention, even the smallest ones become sacred. And when the sacred becomes a part of your daily life, darkness finds no space to enter because your awareness has already filled the room with light. Negativity is like invisible dust. It gathers slowly without you noticing until one day it becomes heavy enough to block your light. Most people carry this weight every day. They think it is normal to feel drained, angry, or hopeless, but it is not. These emotions are signs that the mind is filled with noise that no longer serves you. Letting go of hidden negativity is not weakness, it is cleanse. It is the decision to stop poisoning your energy with thoughts that steal your peace. Your mind holds on to what it repeats. When you replay old pain, the body reacts as if it is happening now. Your heartbeat rises, your muscles tighten, and your energy sinks. But the moment you decide to stop feeding those memories, your body begins to heal. Letting go is not forgetting, it is refusing to let the past control your present. You cannot walk toward light if you keep turning back to stare at darkness. The first step to release negativity is awareness. You must notice what triggers you, what drains you, and what kind of thoughts follow. Once you see them clearly, you take away their power. The second step is replacement. You replace complaint with gratitude, fear with faith, and resentment with understanding. Each time you choose a higher emotion, your vibration rises. Psychologically, this process rewires your brain. It teaches your subconscious that peace is safe. The more you let go of negativity, the more your nervous system relaxes and the more space your energy has to expand. You stop reacting and start responding. Letting go does not mean you ignore life's problems. It means you handle them without letting them live inside you. When your inner world is light, even heavy situations become manageable. Darkness only wins when you hold on to it. The moment you release it, you rise above it. Letting go is not losing. It is how you make room for strength, for clarity, and for peace to return home. Section 11, the spiritual law of cleansing everything in life, moves through cycles. The sun rises and sets. The tides come and go, and every living thing goes through renewal. The same law applies to your spirit. If you do not cleanse your inner world regularly, energy begins to stagnate. Thoughts become cluttered, emotions pile up, and peace starts to fade. Cleansing is not a ritual for the body, it is maintenance for the soul. It is how you reset your energy so that life can flow freely through you again. The human mind collects emotional dust every day. Every conversation, every disappointment, every piece of fear you absorb stays within you unless you intentionally release it. That is why people feel exhausted without reason. Their energy is full of old emotions trying to find a way out. The spiritual law of cleansing reminds us that release is necessary. You cannot fill a cup that is already overflowing. Psychology confirms that the act of cleansing, whether through silence, prayer, fasting, or gratitude, helps the brain reset its stress patterns. When you give the mind space to breathe, it reorganizes itself. The nervous system relaxes and you begin to think clearly again. Cleansing is not about escape, it is about restoration. It teaches you to pause, reflect, and realign your inner compass toward peace. When you follow this rhythm weekly, you create balance. Problems no longer consume you because your mind knows how to return to calm. You begin to trust the process of life instead of forcing control. And that trust builds power. The cleaner your energy, the faster blessings can reach you. The more you release, the more you receive. Cleansing removes the invisible barriers between you and abundance. It reminds your soul that peace is your natural state. When your spirit is clean, fear cannot enter, darkness cannot stay, and negativity has nowhere to hide. The spiritual law of cleansing is simple. When you let go of what no longer serves you, you make space for miracles to find you. Food is more than physical fuel. It carries energy that interacts with your spirit. Every natural ingredient has a vibration, a silent frequency that communicates with your body and mind. When you eat with awareness, you are not only feeding your stomach, you are shaping the flow of energy within your entire being. This is why ancient traditions believe that what you consume can either strengthen your aura or weaken it. It can either attract light or open the door to darkness. Modern science has begun to uncover what spiritual wisdom has known for centuries. Natural foods carry living energy. Fresh fruits, seeds, and herbs are alive with the same life force that flows through creation. They don't just nourish your cells, they repair the subtle energy field around you. In contrast, processed or lifeless foods drain your vibration, leaving you spiritually and emotionally dull. That's why, after eating heavy, artificial meals, you often feel tired, not refreshed. When you intentionally choose what to eat once a week as a form of spiritual cleansing, you give your body a sacred reset. It is not only about what the food contains, but about the intention you hold while consuming it. Eating mindfully, in silence or prayer, turns an ordinary meal into a ritual of purification. That moment becomes a bridge between the physical and the unseen world, reminding you that your spirit and body are not separate. They are partners in the journey toward peace and strength. The simple act of eating something pure like fruit, grains, or herbs blessed by nature once a week becomes an offering to your inner being. It helps release dense energy, break cycles of negativity, and restore harmony between thought and emotion. You begin to notice subtle changes: a lighter mood, a calm heart, and clearer intuition. This is not coincidence. It is the alignment of energy. When your food vibrates with purity, your spirit starts to mirror that same purity. It becomes your quiet protection, a shield of balance that no evil force can easily penetrate. When you align yourself with the rhythm of nature, you begin to notice how every living thing carries a frequency of harmony. The sun, the rain, the soil, all pulse with energy that heals. When you eat food born from this balance, that same energy begins to cleanse your inner world. It washes away spiritual blockages that often appear as confusion, fear, or even bad luck. This is why many wise people believe that certain foods, when eaten consciously, can drive away darkness and attract prosperity. The power lies not in superstition, but in awareness. When you eat something natural once a week with gratitude, you are tuning your energy to the same frequency as growth and abundance. Your body becomes a vessel of renewal. The negativity that once lingered in your thoughts begins to fade, replaced by a quiet confidence that flows from within. You start to feel lighter, as if unseen chains are slowly falling away. Everything in the universe responds to vibration. When your energy rises to pure nourishment and intention, low frequencies like fear, envy, and spiritual attack can no longer stay attached to you. It is like lighting a candle in a dark room. Darkness cannot exist in the presence of light. This is why consistency is vital. Doing this once a week is not just a habit. It becomes a declaration that you choose light over shadow, faith over fear, and growth over stagnation. With each week, the transformation becomes visible. You start to notice how your environment reacts differently, conflicts lessen, peace deepens, and unexpected blessings begin to appear. The power you once sought outside reveals itself as something that has been within you all along. That is the quiet victory of spiritual alignment through the simplest act of eating in harmony with nature. When a person begins to live in rhythm with light, something remarkable happens inside. The mind grows quiet and the heart begins to trust again. This renewal does not come from a sudden miracle, but from steady faith in small actions repeated with intention. Eating something that connects you to nature once a week becomes more than a ritual. It becomes a symbol of rebirth. Each time you do it, you remind yourself that you are choosing strength over weakness, faith over fear, and life over stagnation. The human spirit thrives on repetition. What you do again and again becomes your identity. If you choose to fill your body with life, your thoughts begin to mirror that life. You think clearer, act wiser, and walk taller. The things that once chased you, fear, lost, doubt, no longer find room in your present. You become a magnet for peace because your energy is no longer scattered. It is focused, pure, and calm. That is the hidden power behind simple, consistent acts of renewal. When the mind and soul align, even the darkest energies retreat. You stop reacting to the chaos of the world and start creating from within. People feel the shift around you. They sense a calm power that cannot be shaken. This is not luck or coincidence. It is the natural reward of someone who has cleansed their inner world. Poverty begins to dissolve because your decisions become guided by clarity. Negative people drift away because your energy no longer matches theirs. This transformation is not magic. It is the truth of human nature. Every person has the power to rise, to heal, to begin again. But only those who stay consistent see the full blue bloom of change. So stay steady in your renewal. Each week, feed not just your body, but your soul. Because the moment you choose light again and again, the darkness has no choice but to disappear.